morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you're tuning in from. This is Tasemere, your host with the Blackout live from New York. For people who haven't seen this segment before, I want to just give you guys an intro, and I have an amazing guest that we're going to talk to today. So the Blackout live from New York with me, your host Tasemere's purpose is to celebrate Black folks across the diaspora and to have an open dialogue about Black economics, how we reimagine trends in business, and explore the magic that we have. Today, I have a Baltimore native. I'm going to call him Mr. Gray because, I just want to put that out there, put some respect on his name. But he has been a director, producer in the DMV area for over 15 years, known for his unique cinematography. Gray decided to part ways with CBS Radio to explore his hunger for his own expression and creativity. In turn, he advanced his career as a producer and director for a considerable amount of films and music videos, from NFL to NBA players, Grammy Awards to Emmy Award winning artists. Gray has produced visuals for them all. After a small hiatus, he jumped right back into the director seat to begin production for a suspense film entitled Sweet Dreams. So I want to jump right into it. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
I want to jump right in, like hot and heavy, out of the fire into the pan right now. Before we get into the film that you're producing, I think it's important to give people a bit of an overview of how you even got here, as we were talking briefly behind the scenes.
Yeah.
TV, film, entertainment has been around for forever, right? People always love that industry, but it seems like creatives, specifically Black creatives, are now wanting to reimagine how the industry works, right? And so you have some novice that feel like, they're going to come and crack the code of the game, mixed with some people that have been in the industry and have dedicated a considerable amount of their talent and life into honing in on their craft. And so before we jump right into the film, I would like for you to give people some context of how you got here.
Well, it's a long road. It's not something that you can just jump into. Like, let's say right now I'm on the West Coast and I want to be in the East Coast in 30 minutes so I can make it happen. No matter which direction you go, it's going to take some time to get there. And usually if you don't take your time to get there, it'll end up in a disaster, a huge crash. I see a lot of people now just wanting to jump into the whole industry of what we're in. And, you can look at it and just tell that the work wasn't put in. It's amateurish and it just doesn't give the same energy, the same vibes of something or quality that you took your time to get there in. I see people now putting out products on the stream services, or just in even my business, in the movie business, where people just wake up one day and say, hey, I want to go to Walmart, pick up a camera and make a movie. And, you can look at it and say, okay, this person hasn't put in the work and the time. It doesn't happen overnight. A lot of people now, I feel like, because it's accessible, that they feel like they should just do it, and like the great Ben Parker from Spider-Man said, with great power comes great responsibility. And when we have so much power in our hands to create so much content for the world to see, we need to do it in a responsible light. And right now, I just feel like everyone's just trying to jump on a bandwagon to get rich, and they're really putting a lot of smudge on the art and also on the process it takes to get to a certain point. If that makes any sense.
I completely understand. I mean, from an outsider looking in, like I would not call myself a creative by way of, I cannot take a photo. Okay. I have to take like 100 photos to get maybe 2 to be
That's me too.
Pretty decent, right? So not a photographer. I not a videographer, can't hold the camera steady at all, can't, that's not my forte. But as someone on the outside looking in, I feel or I see that a lot of people are like, I can crack this code, with Hulu and Netflix and YouTube. Like, if I just create a different kind of media platform, I'm going to give the creators more incentive to be on my platform. So of course it takes like more of a capitalist kind of mentality that you're going for, but then also equally people just having interest in this creative aspect and maybe not taking their time to really give it its just due is what I'm seeing. Almost like everyone feels like I have a camera, I have a phone, I can do that too.
Yeah, and that's just not the case. I mean, you're going in competition with some of the biggest platforms that didn't just wake up and say, "Hey, I'm going to create a streaming platform." I mean, even with Netflix, I remember they were sending out DVDs 20 years ago. And to get where they were then to where they are now, and someone to just pop in with the arrogance saying, "I'm going to replace Netflix." And I've been across these kind of people. It just doesn't work that way. You start. I'm not saying don't start at all. Don't chase a dream, but pay it respect, like everything else that you do. Everything else that you put effort into, pay this respect if you want it to pay you back the right way. And again, like I said, with YouTube, with Netflix, with Hulu, all these companies, we may not know about it, but they've been around for I know about it, but other people may not know about it, but they've been around for a long time. And to try to bypass that for your own gain and profit, number one, you're in it for the wrong reason. And it'll never work out that way. And number two, you just didn't put in the work, so you need to go about 15, 20 years back and start there. And then possibly you can progress if it's meant for you and if it's meant to be. That's just how I feel about it.
So let's talk about some of your work, because when I was reading your bio, you worked with videos and films, music videos from the NFL to the NBA to the Grammys to the Emmys. What was that like, really quickly, to give some inspiring, cinematography folks some clues?
I mean, it was an interesting ride in life. And also almost like an identity crisis. When it sounds good on paper, but in reality, I didn't enjoy it as much because I wasn't there for the right reason. For example, yes, I did work with a NFL player. Technically, I was the camera operator there, but I was a videographer, not a cinematographer at the time. Meaning, they had an event. They wanted me to shoot the event, so they said we need a cameraman, and that's me. That was me at the time, which I hate being called a cameraman, but that was my way into the door. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do to get into the door. So, just for example, like I said, I shot the Ray Lewis Foundation. Technically, did I work with NFL players? Yes, but was I sitting at the table eating dinner with Ray Lewis at the time? No, I was not. I was just a camera operator, putting myself in positions and putting myself in rooms. Doing what I didn't like to do in order to be around certain people that I wanted to be around, in order to possibly grasp onto and build from there. So and it did work. I was in the room with a few people, and I may not be able to talk to that person directly, but I was in the room with people that were allowed to talk to that person directly, build relationships with that person, build relationships with this person. And when you look up, next time you're not being hired as the camera person, you're being hired as a director for a commercial of that nonprofit organization or something like that. And you just keep building and building and building. But sometimes you just can't walk in the door trying to be the producer or the director. Sometimes you just need to be able to get in the door to smooth around a little bit to find the proper channels to get wherever you need to get to. So that's how it was a lot in the beginning of my career, just getting in the door with a camera in my hand. And then from that point, saying, okay, yeah, I took your picture, but this is not what I'm really here for. I really want to build beyond just the camera guy. I want to tell a story in movie sense.
I love that we talked about that, because there's a commonality across industries of relationship building, right? of like it takes you getting one relationship, really being authentic and building that relationship to get you to the next relationship. And when people don't know your journey, they just look up and they're like, oh my gosh, this person is on the scene and this person is doing amazing things. And this person seems like they're young and they're trendy. I can do that too, right? But not necessarily understanding that while you might not have been in the room, you know, early on, you had all these building blocks to get you there. You have to count that time too, right?
Yeah.
Like from the time that you first picked up a camera, or the first thing that you took a photo of and you critiqued it, and the first people that helped you tweak that language and that shot to like here. Really, that could have been like a 15-year journey, right?
It was more like 20.
20-year journey from like the first instinct of doing that. But so you have to count all that time that it took you to get to this very seat. And sometimes when people feel like, I don't need to put in all that time, I just have the bright idea right now, I feel like the newness brings creative energy and idea coupled with like experience and knowledge meets a moment together. And there's no way for you to, discount the amount of time that it takes for you to understand pros and cons. So let's hop into the movie. Because when we were talking on the phone a few weeks ago, I was like, "Oh, this sounds cool." So give the folks an idea of like the movie, what it's about, if it's streaming now, that kind of thing. And then I also want to talk about, how you got to wanting to make the movie.
Yeah, no doubt. The movie right now that's out is called Sweet Dreams. It's actually a reboot of something that I did maybe 14 years ago, 14 years ago, and I just redid it again. The original concept came from I liked older movies like Fatal Attraction, Hand of Box to Cradle, like Lifetime style movies, and I just wanted to bring that to our culture. Got tired of us, especially Baltimore, being seen in a light that has been seen over the past 2 decades. I want to bring a different light to Baltimore. So I took the type of movies that I liked along with the edginess of Baltimore, and I brought it together and created this story, Sweet Dreams, which is about a model that's dating this photographer, and she can see into his dreams, which is all nice and cute in the beginning, but the photographer has a wandering eye, and she gets a little jealous and starts to kill off the women that he's dreaming about in his dreams, but really die in real life. So it's like, the Freddy Krueger thing mixed with like this love story thing. And it's a crazy story. But I definitely felt like it was something that could be a man's worst nightmare. And it also brought a different light to Baltimore. So I was really happy to do this again in Baltimore.
So you said you had the idea 12 to 14 years ago where you did the first one.
Yeah, so like if you go on YouTube right now, you can find the original movie Sweet Dreams. And I mean, I was an actor. So I still am kind of, but I was an actor back then, so I was the protagonist back then when we shot it. But it's almost the same script. It's just a newer version of what we did. Better cameras and better sound, and just more modern. But same premise, same story.
So before you got to doing the shooting, the storytelling part, how hard is it to go from being behind the lens to writing the script?
Right. He produced, act, everything. How hard was it to write? As much as I hate to admit it, I'm probably a better writer than I am anything else. Because I have so many different personalities up here that are just dying to come out anyway. That I get to the computer or my phone and I just start typing, and it just flows. It flows really naturally. I stay true to myself. I stay true to the characters when I'm writing. That's one thing I suggest that any aspiring writers, when they're ready to come out, just stay true to the character. Don't say, what would I say? say, hey, what would this character say in that moment? You know, don't cheat the characters. So that's what I do when it comes to writing. I just transform, and I guess because maybe I act also, it's easier for me to fall into these characters when I'm writing. So that's what I suggest. Just fall into the character and just let it flow. Don't question it, and whatever happens, don't blame it on yourself as the writer. Say, I don't know why the character said that. It was the character. It wasn't me. You know, this, you know, this just let it flow. Let's let it flow. Is what you think would happen. But I think the writing part is my favorite because sometimes due to lack of budget, I can get more creative in the papers, and my scripts are sometimes better than the actual product because the scripts don't have a budget. I can write whatever I want. Versus, you know, when it's time to actually shoot it, it's like, maybe we'll scratch this scene and put something else there because this is more in the realm of the budget of what we have at the moment. So, yeah.
What about the casting? Because you got to cast people, right?
Yeah.
So, when you're writing the script, do you already have an idea of what you want the character to look like?
When I write the script, the characters are all me with wigs on, you know, and like just dressed all the way different, just Eddie Murphy, the whole damn thing. You know, so and they're all me in the beginning, like these different personalities, and then when we do castings, they then steal the role from me, and they're like, okay, I'm going to take this role and make it my own. And if it's believable, I'll say, hey, you did better than me. You got it. That's your role. So that's how that goes. Everyone in the beginning is just walking around, mustache, beard, wig, and all, and just you know, all that stuff. I don't know, but
I'm
yeah.
so fascinated. This is very fascinating to me because this is very outside of any of the things that I do. So a lot of my questions are like probing questions that I've had. Like, do you already have an idea? Because I know that sometimes I'm like, did the writer write specifically for this actor or
Sometimes,
actress,
yeah.
because they knew that this role was going to be them. And then sometimes in movies, you can't separate the character from the person. Like you're like, this person played this part so well that this has to be them. This has to be who they are in real life. And how I'm just always wondering, like, how do they not become one with the character so well, right? That now people are like, this is this character.
Yeah, no, that happens sometimes. Sometimes the people get lost in character. Sometimes directors are hell bent on saying this role is specifically for such and such, you know, and if it doesn't work out, the directors are heartbroken. But the show must go on. But sometimes on the other side for the actors, they get some of these roles and they get stuck in character for life, you know, in real life. In their real life, they really believe that they are who they portray themselves to be on camera. You know, it's a really fine line right there. Because sometimes even your audience will always typecast you and keep you in that role, you know. So you got to be careful when you're picking roles and how deep you want to get into it, or how long you want to play that role if it's a TV show, because you will get typecast and become, hey, that's Al Bundy, hey, that's Ghost from Power, hey, that's who, you know, like certain people just have they get stuck, and it's not that's not the best way to be if you're an artist, because you always want to be very transparent and be able to make yourself whoever you're cast to be, not just being whatever character it is into a new one. How can I say that differently? You don't want to be Ghost from Power, and then, you know, you try to be someone else. They're like, "Oh, you seen that movie with Ghost last night?" And I'm like, "That's not who that is, man." But you know, we're not watching Power anymore. He's been dead for 4 seasons.
Yeah, sometimes they do it so well, like Angela from Power, right? It's like,
Another one.
That's somebody that I think is like, if she tried to play another role other than Angela from Power, people will always refer to her as Angela, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you think back to the Tyler Perry movie, I Could Do Battle by Myself, and the guy, you know, people are like, that's him.
Oh, right.
You know, that's him. It's like hard for him it's going to be really hard for him to break out of that
It is.
that type of character because he did it so
Yeah.
well. He was
Yeah.
so convincing that anywhere else people are like, no, that's not the movie that we're watching.
Right. Right.
This is
You
the
gotta
guy.
go back to that's terrible.
This is
It
the
breaks your heart as an artist, you know. And it goes to like to get slightly off track. I feel like sometimes I get boxed into a category of making just urban thrillers per se. And I say urban, that's a whole different thing. Which we can get into that later if you want to. But um people say, well, this is not, I'm making a movie right now which is totally opposite from what Sweet Dreams is. I'm talking about as far as just like the casting, the pacing, the story wise, everything. So I keep trying to create different stuff so I can't easily get boxed and somehow still sneak my signature in there somewhere so people still know it's me. But again, with Sweet Dreams, I would say it's like 98% African American, and I would say this new movie is probably 99% Caucasian, you know, so it's just like a drastic difference with a different type of audience. But I just want to make sure that people understand, don't box me into a certain category as far as an artist, because it's just not fair to the artist itself. If you're a true artist, you have to keep evolving in order to not just stay relevant, but in order to get all these ideas, the new ones out. You know, if you stay in the same comfort zone, you're not really creating anymore. You're just being repetitive. So I just when you said that, when people get boxed in, I'm like, I don't want to ever be in a situation where I get boxed in as any type of artist. You know, I want to be able to freely move around as much as possible.
So can we talk a little bit about what it takes to produce a film? Because again, I'm just like an intriguing person that wants to know.
Right.
So from the budget that you have to come up with,
Mm-hmm.
how do you even get that money? Like is that like how hard is it for an inspiring person that has the story, the screen written out, they want to do the casting,
Mm-hmm.
they might have some equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does it take? How much does it take to do a decent film?
A lot of people aren't gonna like the answer, but I mean, if truth be told, I feel like all you need is right here in your head, right? If you see it, like if you really see it, and if it's meant for you, it's gonna work out. And that's not being cliche. That's 100% honest. Especially in 2022, you have the iPhones with 4K on it. Even if you don't want to use iPhone, you have the older cameras that I made my first movie on. Back then, that was $4,000. Now they're like $300. You know, there's nothing stopping you from getting the stuff that you need to make a movie these days if you really want to. Now there will be a lot of hurdles along the way, but that's with a budget, without a budget. You're going to always face hurdles. So as long as you know in your head, I'm going to get this done, I can see it. We just need to maneuver around certain things, and you have a team around you of people that want to do it as well, it will get done. It really doesn't matter about money necessarily to get your story told. Now, if you want to be unrealistic and say, hey, I want to blow up a truck, you know, in an action sequence, then that's different. But to start off, all you need is just an iPhone or an older camera and a group of people, or if not a group of people, you and someone else that just believe. You just gotta believe it and just do it, and it will work out. I've seen people with $500,000 budgets, and that's still small budgets in the indie world. But I'm just saying, starting out, I've seen people with $500,000 budgets make movies that are horrible, and I've seen people with no budgets at all with an iPhone and made spectacular movies. You know, so budgets really don't matter. You just, the more money you get, the more stuff you get to hide behind to tell a story that doesn't need to be told anyway. So if you're a true artist, budgets really don't matter when it comes to filmmaking. You just need to be able to tell a story with what you have. You know, if I was a true artist in any other aspect, if I was like, well, they say, hey, Alvin, you're a painter, or you draw. Here's a pencil. Draw something on the wall. And I can't say, hey, I don't know how to draw with a pencil only. I need a acrylic paintbrush to be able to draw such and such. Like, that doesn't make any sense. If you're a true artist, you can just take a piece of paper and a pencil and draw whatever. And it's the same thing with filmmaking. If you're a true filmmaker, director, producer, you can make it happen with little to no funds and build that way. That's just from my experience of making like 4 or 5 feature films, starting from nothing and getting to where I am now. Now, when you continue to create, you will find people that say, "Hey, this person is onto something. I want to invest." Whether it be a real estate agent or a retired doctor, a lawyer, or someone who's just interested in the arts. They can't actually be in the arts. When they see that you're working, when they see the products you're putting out, this person can tell a story. All he needs is a little bit of money, or she needs a little bit of money. They will start to bring money and put it into your projects for you. So don't worry about the money first starting off. Just jump out and just do it. And the right people will notice you for sure.
Now, what about the business side?
Uh-huh.
We sometimes we get focused on the creativity side and we don't pay attention to the business side. What business acumen does someone getting into the game or already in the game need to have?
Just don't let no one come in and take over your projects. I mean, that's something I struggle with that myself as an artist first and a business person second, which I hate to admit it, but it's true. Surrounding yourself with the proper lawyers, entertainment lawyers and things like that to make sure that you're safe, make sure that people don't want to come in and try to take over your whole project. They might throw a couple $100s in your face. When I say a couple hundred, not literally, but a few $1,000s in your face. And you're happy to take it at the moment because you need it to make your project, but not realizing that you could possibly get ripped off for $1 million or so later on down the line if you don't handle your business first. So as much as you want to be an artist, always make sure that you have a business consultant or entertainment lawyer or something just to make sure that you cover yourself, because this business can get very crummy because everybody wants to get in, however they can. And a lot of people aren't capable of being the creator. They're only capable of being the business person. With that, you gotta watch that though, because again, they can see your pockets really deep, leave you with nothing. You see that happen all the time, especially used to be in the music industry. You sign that paperwork, your first record, and you don't make anything because you're so worried about the upfront money and just getting on, putting yourself on. Excuse me. I just strongly suggest, even if you're deep into the arts, truly invest in someone to protect you and your business interests.
Now, I hear a lot. Again, I don't know this very well, but the word syndication is happening, especially with online stuff, right?
Yeah.
You give some folks just some basic parameters around how that's helpful, hurtful, when you are a creative.
That's the newer thing. That's not something I had to deal with just yet. Again, I would just say always make sure that you have someone that's on your team that's up to date with things as well. Now, if you want to put money into anything, I always say put money into 2 things: put money into and put money into an entertainment lawyer, because that's where things get blurred. The industry is starting to change the wave of things where you can't always keep track of numbers. You can't figure out where certain money went to because it's all through the streams and behind this. Like, you just can't access certain things anymore. So it's very important that when you are moving forward, that you have the proper attorney or some type of business partner, a true partner, a shark that is trying to make sure that you get what you deserve or what you both deserve or whatever. Because this industry is changing. It's not for the best when it comes to like monies and getting paid. A lot of artists are struggling with that. And that's why sometimes a lot of people say, hey, I just want to do my own streaming platform, because streaming platforms of today aren't as honest as we would like them to be. Why should they be if they don't have to be? So that's something we need to work on as a team, as a team of artists. Like, we need better ways of conducting business when it comes to streaming movies, because it's really hard right now to keep track of anything. They always say it's in. I can't think of the word right now, but they always make up different excuses on why they can't get proper numbers, and quarter is over with, and then stuff is just smudged. It's just not right. So yeah, I'm trying my best to be very careful about that topic because I'm having issues myself right now with that.
Yeah, I just want to be kind of, give people some insight, like real, because I know that we're in a time right now where a lot of folks are thinking about entrepreneurship, right? In a way that people haven't traditionally thought about entrepreneurship as much. And so you have the gamut of folks, people that have been in the industry for a while and they're like, I'm going to break off and I'm going to do my own thing, right?
Yeah.
Versus people that have just been watching and they're like, oh my gosh, this is my chance. I always wanted to, make a film about this or do a show about this. And now this is like my opportunity to get in.
Yeah.
To kind of like leave my mark. But like any industry, there's so many different nuances to like what you're doing and how you do what you do.
Right.
I think someone with your breadth of experience and gaining more and more can like, just give some tips of like, even when you said about the writing, I thought people wrote and they like already knew like, hey, this is how this person is gonna look. This is how this person is gonna be. Like, as someone from the outside, haven't written the screen at all, I just like was like, oh yeah, like the person walks in and they read the script and they're like, yes, that's exactly who I had in my brain, right?
Yeah.
To when you even spoke about, you were the camera guy first, and then you kind of, charted your path from there. It's so many different ways that you can do different things, and you learn more of the insider kind of tricks, right?
Yeah.
You had this movie done about 12 to 14 years before and then did like a retake of the movie, right? So it's just interesting. Like I'm just intrigued by this creative side, production, directing, and I think that we're seeing a lot of actors and actresses coming up with their own production studios, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like wanting to like peel back the layers of how that even becomes a thing, and how do you make it work. So I want to get back into this film really quickly.
Yeah.
How was it doing the retake of the film? Like, did you go back and watch the movie the first time and you were like, I wish I could have added this part in?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely went back and I used that like a guideline on what not to do. So I watched it a few times going back, and I definitely took the old one to make the new one a lot more enhanced. And I really did appreciate the fact that I wasn't in the new one. That way I was able to really focus on telling the story the way that I felt like it should the first time, which is very similar. It's little subtle differences that I would have made that I was able to make it a new one. So I enjoyed the whole process. It was very eerie sometimes to see how similar certain scenes were. Just because some of the actors and even my my director of photography, he didn't see the movie either. So when he went and saw the old one, he's like, wow, he's actually eerily similar, frame for frame, shot for shot. But it was a cool experience. We shot it in 8 days, over the top of a cold time. So everyone's like freaking out with air. Don't breathe next to me. Like everyone's going crazy, very hostile, very angry. No one talks to each other anymore. It's just it was crazy. It was a crazy set.
But that had to play into the whole Freddy Krueger aspect of it, because you were able to like, bring that energy into those scenes. I can only imagine of like how that might have looked.
Yeah, a lot of people were very unsettled and very tense. Like it was a very tough time. It was a very unreasonable time. Also, I'm like, we're running from air right now, same room. Like either we're gonna get this done or we're not. But while we're here stressing, so we got it done though. We got it done in 8 days, so it wasn't too bad. But it was very intense when it was time.
Cool. So you have a new project that you're working on now. Do
Yes.
you have any other things coming up that people should be looking forward to?
Yeah. So we should be releasing a stream series this summer called Risky Business. That's going to be a pretty heavy story. If you've seen the old movie Risky Business, then it's similar to the actual movie Risky Business from Tom Cruise back in the 80s. But we rebooted that. We're shooting that now. Well, we're editing that now. We're shooting Senior Cut Day right now in Nevada. That's going to be a pretty suspenseful movie. Let me think. What else? What else? What else? Also producing a movie called Freak Like Me in Baltimore when I get back in July. So 3 projects coming out all before October, I would say.
Wow,
Yeah.
busy, busy, busy. So do you do like these, like what if people are like, I love this so much. I want to do like the being that exclusive like screening thing. How does that work?
Just reach out to me, and which by the way, you're there, so if you ever want to come down to Baltimore when it happens. But for anyone else, they can just reach out to me on my Instagram page, Mr. Gray 2020, and just DM me and say, hey, I would like to be a part of the process, blah blah blah, whatever. We'll talk, and if it works out, then it works out. But I always ask for people to support, even if it's just by sharing the video, sharing whatever what's happening. I have a movie right now, Sweet Dreams. I have Sweet Dreams on Tubi right now, and I always say, hey, even if you just want to click it and just watch a couple minutes, share it with someone else. That's all you have to do. Literally, with this movie, Sweet Dreams, you don't have to pay anything. So you just all I need is just the support. If you want to help, if you want to be a part of the process, just click play and watch the movie. It's not even, hey, you don't have to put no credit cards in or nothing. Just watch it. So if you can't support at this point where you don't even have to pay anything, or you don't even have to enter an email, if you can't support it this time, you're just really hating. So like, I don't want to be a part of this situation.
So they can watch Sweet Dreams where?
Right now, the new Sweet Dreams you can watch on Tubi. So just download the Tubi app and just click in Sweet Dreams or click in Alvin Gray, and it'll pop right up and you just press play. It don't ask you to sign in. It don't ask you for credit card information. Doesn't ask you for anything, and it's free. So the more streams you get, though, of course, like we was kind of mentioned earlier, the more streams you get, the better off it'll do for me. So if you want to support, you don't got to support out your pockets. Just support with your eyes and watch the show, the movie.
Okay. I'm going to put that on my list.
Please.
And my chief of staff here has now decided to take a hiatus. Wish Elijah would come over and help interview you today. But he's watching Coco Melon. So I think he's slightly addicted to J. I don't know.
I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old upstairs watching Coco Melon right now.
This show has taken over. If I have to sing one more nursery rhyme,
can't do it.
It's taking over my day. So that's I think he's like kind of on strike watching first day of school here.
Okay.
Coco Melon. But I wanted to, before we wrap up, we have Sweet Dreams that we can go watch right now. Mm-hmm. You have about 3 more projects that's coming out before October.
Mm-hmm.
Want to know what's in store for 2023? If you have any tips, any new information, inside scoop that we can have here at the Blackout, would love to know.
2023. Oh my gosh, I had an anxiety attack yesterday about this. I have so many different ideas in my head, and to get them out, I can't get them out quick enough. So with 2023, I'm hoping to be working on season 2 of the stream series Risky Business that I'm doing. I was playing with the idea of possibly doing a Sweet Dreams Part 2. Just trying to work with the actors again, and they're a little upset, but try to get them all back together. I really, wherever the road takes me at this point for 2023, I would be happy because I feel like the last couple years I've been blessed enough to be able to accomplish what I have accomplished in so little time. It's not easy to do 2 feature films back to back. especially having two under two babies, so it's been a hell of a ride. So 2023, I don't see myself declining. I think that things will definitely progress further. But into where, I have no idea. Wherever the road takes me, I'm here for the ride. I'm enjoying it.
And just give the people your IG, how you want them to reach out to you, just one more time.
Yeah, it's Mr. Gray, and we're gonna spell it out. It's MISTERGRAY, Mr. Gray 2020. That's where you can find me at. And I'll always have different casting updates on there, different updates about the movie. So I suggest following it if you want to see what's happening next before it comes out. A lot of people always say, "Well, why didn't you tell me you were making a movie?" I'm like, "Well, if you follow the page, you would see I'm making it, and this is your chance to get in." So follow the page, and I would definitely say please support the movie by watching it. I don't want your money. I just want your views. And yeah,
watch it, share it,
yes,
please, on your pages, like it, talk about it, do all that you can. We have aspiring people that want to get into the game. This is a perfect person that you can learn from, on the back end. Like, look, see, he's accessible. You see him here, right? So people that want to, maybe be actors and actresses, definitely subscribe, put on your notification, see when casting for the new seasons and things like that. Thank you so much for stopping by. I know it's super early.
I know, right?
Where you are, I got you out of your bed on a whole nother time zone, so I will not take up more of your time. But thank you so much for dropping by the Blackout, and you're welcome to come back anytime.
Awesome. I look forward to coming back when the next movie is out.
Yay! We can't wait to get the inside scoop. Woo, woo.
I got a lot to say about that when I'm out of this town. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll do the uncut version.
Yeah, definitely a lot of around here. So we'll talk about it.
Thank you so much. Be sure to tune in to Sweet Dreams on
Tubi.
You don't have to pay. Just put in, Sweet Dreams into the search. Watch it, like it, share it. Go to his IG page to keep up to date on all the newness that is coming out this year and beyond. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Talk to you soon. Ciao.